Chapter 20, High School. I'm 15 years old at this time, and I'm going to be going to St. Elizabeth Technical High School, STETS for short. I kept my locks all this time, and I decided that, yeah, I'm going to go to high school with my locks wrapped. No one is going to see my hair. I never allowed anyone to see my hair. It's always wrapped when I'm out. My mother did her best to make sure that I went to high school. So she did do her best. She got in touch with my dad, and I don't know what the meetup was, but she had told me a little bit, some parts of it, that I recall of her telling me that he was very sorry in his behavior the last time, and he's asking her, requesting from her that she do not go to the media with the information that she is claiming, and he doesn't want his career to be damaged. He's worked very hard on his career, and it is very important to him. So he was pretty much asking her not to disclose any of this to the media. I remember her telling me this, and he agreed to pay my tuition fee, because in Jamaica you have to pay high school tuition fees, the books, you have to do all of that. So yes, my dad was sending me money to pay for my books, anything for school, my high school tuition fee. He took care of all of that, and he opened the door for me to come and visit him. This was when I was 15 years old. I recall going the first time to meet him at 15. I was happy because I know he's now paying my tuition fee, and I have an understanding, and I was like thinking, well, he cares about my education, you know, and he has given the okay for me to come and visit him, and I was very, very happy about that. Before this, my godmother is Judy Mowat from the High Trees, Bob Marley. I used to visit her a lot, and I never knew in all my visits that my sisters from my dad's side live right up the street. Never knew that, because she never shared that with me. And I never knew her son and my brother by my dad were close friends. And I wanted to share this. One day, David is a close friend of mine. We have lost touch over the years because I migrated to the States, and I have lost touch with him. But he was my buddy at the time, and he said to me one day, he said, you know, I know your brother, and I'm going to make you meet your brother. And I was like, really? He said, yes. So I'm gonna tell him about you. He said, matter of fact, I did tell him, and he's willing to meet you. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna meet my brother. But this was at another time. I've already met my dad when I was 15, but that just jumped in my head, and I wanted to put that part there. However, I remember this time I had my nervousness under control because the situation is different. This time, he's the one who put the invitation for me to come and visit, and it made me way more, feeling more comfortable. And I was like, 5 years later, and I was happy. So when I went to visit him, you know, I did my best to look as nice as I possibly can. I'm always trying to see if I could look my best to go see my dad, because I wanted to impress him in every way, and I just wanted to see me, you know. And I was so excited on the bus, because we had to take the bus to go to Kingston. And so the decision was for me to stay with Auntie Judy, and then I would go down and visit my dad. And he said to me that I could spend the night, I could spend one of the nights down by his house. And I was like, even more excited, because I'm not gonna rest my head underneath the same roof as my dad. I was thinking if I was dreaming. I was wondering if this was real. I was like, oh my God. Like, I was like, I didn't want to be too excited, because but at the same time, I just was so happy and so excited, because I'm going through the gate and I'm going to spend the night at my dad's house. And I got a hug this time when I saw him at 15. And he said, "My, how you're getting so tall." He's like, "Where do you get your height from?" He's like, "Your mom's short, I'm short. Where did you get your height from?" And I said, "I have some clogs on. Maybe that's what it is." Because I had some clogs on, and the clogs had some heels on it. And I took off my shoes, but he's like, "Yeah, you're still tall." And I was like, and he's like, "Give me a hug." And I hugged him, and I went into his embrace, and I was like, at 15, I was like, all my life, I dreamt of being in my father's arms. I wanted to be held by him so bad. And that meant so much to me. To be held by my father. It meant so much to me. And I hugged my mom, and I was so happy. And I told her thanks, and she left. And I got to spend that night with my dad. I got to see his routine in the AM, that he likes to have grapefruit every single AM. He told me, grapefruit is very good for you. One thing with my dad, he always educates you along the way. And I felt like I got that from him, because my mother is the same as well, you know. My parents that I chose to come into this planet, they're very spiritual people. And I got that connection from both of them. And I saw where I got that from him, that I like to give a little lecture about things. Because every time I speak to someone, I'm always giving them a little lecture about something. It's, for me, it's food for thought, sharing the knowledge. And he had a lot of grapefruit trees in the back of the yard, and he would go get his fresh picked grapefruit. He cut it and he ate it, and he was telling me to eat, but I was like, "Oh, it's bitter," and I was just like, "I'm not a fan of grapefruit." But he was like, "It's very good for you. It's very good for you. You should have grapefruit. You should eat some grapefruit." And I was like, "Okay." So I was just like, I was cherishing this moment. And then later on that day, my other siblings, there were a few other siblings that came over, and I was so much excited. Two of my brother, I've met them before already. I would not disclose their names. I have 2 pairs of twins by my dad, and my 2 sets of twins they came over that day as well. And the youngest pair of twins, I was looking at them and I was like, that's me. I saw myself in those two young princesses, because that's exactly how I looked when I was growing up. I was tall and skinny and the same kind of facial features, and I was like, I saw myself in them and I was like looking at them and I was like, that's how I used to look when I was growing up. They look like me when I was growing up. I will not disclose their names either. So that day, there was my bigger brother who has the younger brother, the first two brothers that I've met by the mom who scratched up my mom in the first episodes. Those are her sons that I've met beforehand. My bigger brother had come over and left the younger brother. I will not disclose any of their names. And my two pairs of twin sisters, and my other sister by that other baby mother who is the neighbor to my godmother, Auntie Judy. And she had 4 children, the twins, one set a twin, and my sister and my older brother, which is why I wanted to bring up earlier Auntie Judy's son, who is that brother who I've met, but I had not met him yet. But he is the son of that mother who has 4 of them, and those 3 children came over. My bigger brother did not come over, so I didn't meet him that day. I met him through Auntie Judy's son. And so I was even more happier because now I have my siblings that I'm meeting, and my dad seemed to be so happy. And I was observing him the whole entire time, because I was like, he looks like he's very happy right now, like he's happy that he has his children around him. And I was just feeling a sense of relief, because I was like, he loves his children. And I was just like, imagine that if we had the opportunity for me to be around him from a youngster, it would have been so amazing, just beautiful. Chapter 21.